What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. Now, we've been seeing a lot of protests on these college campuses, right? And it seems to me that these kids, they're genuine with their protests. They want to fight oppression. They don't want the Israeli government to kill civilians. But, this whole situation goes much deeper than this surface level Free Palestine garbage that they're producing, if you will. But I don't think they really know exactly what they're getting behind. They don't realize that Hamas, they're savages. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. They're absolute savages. Now, you can criticize the Israeli government for doing some of the stuff that it does, beyond October 7th, into the past or whatever, with oppression and all this other stuff. But I'm sorry, there's no amount of oppression, if you want to call it that, that justifies killing people, taking hostages, going over the gates, flying in with these damn paragliders and just murdering innocent civilians for no reason. Right now, we've been outraged. I've criticized the Israeli government for sure for killing civilians, but this is a very deep moral conundrum, if you will. It's like, what do you do? It's the fog of war. There's going to be collateral damage in any war. From everything I can tell, the Israeli government is doing the best that it can do in the situation that it has. If they do nothing, what's really going to happen? There's going to be revolt. The people of Israel don't feel safe. They're going to overthrow their government. If they go too hard, then you'll see what's happening now, and the entire world is like, hang on, Israel, you need to chill the hell out. You're killing way too many civilians. So it's very morally confusing, if you will, to try to take a certain position. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but my position is, yeah, Hamas needs to be eliminated, but you need to try to minimize the civilian casualties to a greater degree than what they are. But once again, this gets very hard and it gets very confusing when you have a terrorist group like Hamas that use the civilianry as a personal shield. What do you do in that instance? Do you kill the civilian to kill the Hamas militant? What do you do? But the thing, I don't think these protesters and everybody that's pro-Palestinian, I don't think they really know what they're getting into, because anytime any of them are confronted on the moral question of what should Israel do about this, they want to pivot to something else.
Point to you, which again you haven't answered yet. I'm curious what your answer is. How should Israel have responded
if you'd allow me to continue
to such a grotesque terror attack?
Both of you stop cutting me off. I will continue.
Well, just answer the question. I won't cut you off.
I would very much like to continue.
Yeah.
No, I will answer the question the way I see fit, the way I talk. You are not going to school me as to how to respond, sir. Now, to my point. 7th of October did not happen in a vacuum. Another bigger problem is that you've had lies being regurgitated by officials from the 7th of October. I urge everyone to check www.techforpalestine.com, which gives the truth and the proper research as to what unfolded on the 7th of October.
We don't need to read anything. Hang on, sorry. I'm sorry. Look, you can't revisit.
You do need to read.
Well, hang on.
You keep cutting me off. This is the most bizarre conversation ever.
I'm not cutting you off, Rama. I'm challenging you, as I will, by the way.
You are cutting me off. Let me, no. You can challenge me once I am done.
As I just said, Hamas broadcast what they were doing to the world. You don't need any report when you have people literally showing you on social media what you're doing and boasting about it.
It is very, something that I've realized through these debates is that it doesn't end up being a debate. It ends up being that I'm trying to convince you that Palestinian life is worth it.
But I agree.
Is as important.
You don't have to convince me at all.
It is quite
I completely agree.
That is, I don't...
Why are you trying to convince me that Palestinian lives matter?
I'm not... I don't even have a response to this. This is a very low conversation. Sir,
you said you were trying to convince me that Palestinian lives are worth it. I said, of course they're worth it.
I'm not trying to convince you what... But you're not acting like it is. If you saw that, you wouldn't be bringing me back to the 7th of October.
But that's
You'd
what
be talking
started
to
this
me about the
whole
40,000 Palestinians who've been killed.
But October the 7th started this whole war.
Really?
Yes, it did.
That's not, again, this is, thank you for pointing out the exact issue that we have here. When you bring it to the point of that this started from the 7th of October, that is the problem.
This war started October 7th.
The issue of this
there was a ceasefire before that.
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, there was.
No, sir.
See, they always pivot to the past. They always pivot to something else. Yeah, October 7th didn't happen in a vacuum. Everybody knows that. We know that that war has been going on, but the dadgum charter for Hamas is the destruction of Israel, right? They chant from the river to the sea, and you got that people trying to defend that as, no, that's not a call for genocide. Yeah, yes, it is. Come on, let's get that out of the way. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to everybody else. That is a call for genocide outright. But they always try to pivot to something else. And they always try to say, you know, oh, the Palestinian lives don't matter to you. Well, that's not true either, because my criticisms of Israel are there. You don't listen to my criticisms that, yes, Israel needs to chill the hell out. They need to eliminate Hamas in a humane manner and stop the deaths of all these civilians, women and children. Now, we could say, and they call it propaganda, that Israel does go and they do let these people know before they're going to start dropping bombs. They drop pamphlets or whatever. They let them know we're about to bomb this place. Letting the enemy know to get out of the area. It's like, so what are you going to do? They call that propaganda. But Israel says they're doing it. How can we know any difference? Where do we go from that point? One thing I want to know is, how come there's no protests for what Hamas did, for God's sakes? How come the ICC isn't going after the leaders of Hamas? Other questions arise from that too. I've said this in the past. If you don't want to be constantly terrorized, if you want to live in peace, if you don't want to be oppressed, why did you vote in a terrorist organization to run your freaking government? I say this all the time, right? Like, who are we, I'm talking to pro-Palestinians out there, who are we to get in the way of what the Palestinian people obviously wanted? That's the other side of this argument, right? That's who they voted into office, knowing that Hamas is calling for the destruction of Israel, knowing that Hamas would love nothing more than to eliminate the Jews from the gene pool, if you will, just completely get rid of them. Who are we to get in the way of that? You know what I mean? That's what these people wanted. So when the bombs start falling on their heads, who are we to say that's wrong? This is the other side of the argument, right? Now, I'm not saying that's my position, but who are we to get in the way of that? You look at these people and you might just get out there and say, not everybody voted Hamas into power. Sure. But the majority of the people around you did, and that's a problem. Once again, just like in the United States with Roe versus Wade, if you don't like abortion, then go to a state that doesn't allow it. And vice versa. If you do like abortion, get out of the state that doesn't allow it and go somewhere else. That's the bottom line. That's the very bottom line. You know, you can make all the arguments you want about, oh, this is hard and you can't move and all this other stuff. I'm sorry. No, you can. If you're really that invested into not liking a terrorist group as your government, then get out. Just go away. Move. Get away from there. At the same time, civilian deaths are bad. War is bad. I oppose war just outright, just completely. Don't like war in its entirety. But, you know, the reality, you know, I'm not so naive to think that war is not going to happen. The reality is war does happen. And it's bad, and we need to try to prevent war any way we can. Should Israel stop oppressing the Palestinians? Well, you know, once again, that's a tough question when you have this group of people that if you just let run rampant, they're just going to build up military forces to the point to where they can now come in and oppress you and overtake you and kill all of your civilians. So the moral question still remains. what should Israel have done after October 7th? I don't think there's a correct answer here. You're going to get answers from all over the place. They shouldn't have done nothing. Really? Do you really think that they shouldn't have done anything? You think they should have just let that happen? At the same time, their response has been dramatic. They are on an all-out crusade to kill Hamas. And, you know, once again, it's really hard to say that that's a bad thing. Killing civilians is bad outright. But when you have a terrorist group that calls for the destruction of your nation, I'm sorry, you know, if you need to eliminate that threat, that's what you do. Pose a question, you know, what do you do if you're in your house just doing your thing, you got a gun, blah, 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 some people start kicking in the door. Do you just let those people come in and do whatever the hell they want to do? No, you're going to try to stop them. Right now, some states, they say you should exit your house if your house is getting broken into. Some people believe that. Is that the morally right thing to do? I really don't know. I don't think so. You just letting people run over you? No. Is killing them the right thing to do? Some people say yes. Some people say no. I think they need to be stopped. That's my opinion. I think that if they come in and they're threatening your life, you have the right to defend yourself. Should you shoot to kill? I don't think so. I don't think if you have a way out. But once again, in those situations, you get into a very tough decision process that you only have seconds, 1 to 2 seconds to make that decision. So do you decide to kill? Do you decide to shoot him in the leg? What do you decide to do? That's the thing. What should Israel have done? Now, I got another clip I just want to throw out there, and we'll end the video right after that. But this guy, he's been going viral all over the place. He's the son of one of the founders of Hamas, so he knows better than anybody who we're actually dealing with. Check this out.
I've read it, that the charter of Hamas is to eliminate the Jewish race, beginning with Israel, but not stopping with Israel, wiping them off the face of the earth. Is that true?
This is true, but it does not end there. Now we have the problem with the pro-Palestine who are actually giving Hamas cover. They are participants in the crime. In fact, since October 7, I personally don't differentiate between Hamas and what's so-called Palestinians. Because actually there is no Palestinians. There are tribes. There is the tribe of Hamas, and there is the tribe of the Islamic Jihad, and there is the tribe of Khalil, and there is the tribe of Nablus. And each one has different interests, and all of them are conflicted. If they did not have Israel as the common enemy, they would kill each other. This is the reality of what's so-called Palestine. Rhetoric? You don't know what Palestine is. Actually, in fact, the keffiyeh that you are wearing, this is just a statement to show that you really lack the authenticity to represent the case. And what's so-called the cause, you know, this is a human problem.
So you just...
The cause must die. I think enough is enough. And now it's proven, and you are helping Hamas to prove it to the world, that Palestine depends on the destruction of the state of Israel. And this is not acceptable, and we are not going to agree to it. And I tell you something, for the next 10 or 20 years, the Palestinian people will pay the bill that Hamas is caused today, and most likely in blood.
To you, Hamas and Palestinians are the same, they're one and the same?
After October 7, yes, there is no difference.
Really?
The vast majority of the Palestinian people support Hamas.
Really?
This is a fact. This is proven by statistics, and your silence now. You cannot even condemn Hamas and say that what they did on October 7 was an act of a savage group. You don't have that power.
Said I condemn.
On what authority do you speak?
question.
You only speak on the authority of Hamas propaganda.
No, why do you say that I'm speaking on the authority of Hamas propaganda?
Because
when
if you were a decent human being, you can say that the thousands were killed on October 7. That was a crime against humanity. It was a genocide.
And that brings us back around to the beginning of the video. These protesters don't know what they're getting behind. They just think that they're social justice warriors, that they're fighting on behalf of some people that are oppressed. Yeah, they don't know what Hamas will do if given more power. They don't realize these things. That's why they can't answer. They can't condemn what Hamas did on October 7th, because morally in their head they know that murder is wrong. Jumping over the fence, killing babies, killing civilians just outright, pretty much unprovoked, just to do this, right? Like, oh, they were oppressed. Sorry, doesn't justify it. Once again, Hamas will come back into power, and they will continue to destroy Israel until Israel is destroyed if Israel doesn't fight back. I say, if you're a government in a situation like that, you got to defend yourself. Try to minimize civilian casualties as much as you can, but the moral question remains. Should we kill innocent civilians? No. If it happens, should we condemn it for happening in a war, to an existential war, if you will? Hamas is an existential threat to Israel. They have the right to defend themselves. However, when you start crossing that line of defense, that starts getting very blurry, and we don't know what to do in that situation. I'm still conflicted. I wish Israel could just go in and just kill Hamas, and that's it. But, like he said, now we're getting to the point to where these people are defending Hamas. The Palestinians aren't any different from Hamas. Why? They voted Hamas into power. So, the moral question remains, should Israel eliminate those people as well, even though they're not actively fighting? I want y'all to let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.